Okay, so I'm just very grateful to be given this opportunity to be able to share with you the experience in how our parish actually journeyed hospitality, to foster hospitality in our parish. And it is so wonderful how the Holy Spirit worked, because what Father Terence said about Matthew, and then he ended off with John. Exactly. So this is that commandment that Jesus gave at the Last Supper. I give you a new commandment: love one another, just as I have loved you. You must also love one another. So, talking about lunch, this can be quite a thing, right? So, I also take that we are called to love like how God does. And Jesus showed us how this can be done. And of course, in the book of Genesis, we are reminded that we are made in the image and likeness of God. So we are the men and women called to care for one another, just as how God cared for us. So we have this responsibility for the whole of creation. Tall task, tall order indeed. But you know what? The tip is this: we don't do this alone. Like what Teresa mentioned yesterday, we have a community. And I'm just so grateful for this community to help us with the course, to chart the course for parish hospitality. And this is how we learn to live the faith. So just a bit of background about myself, about my journey, which began as a leader in the Lectors ministry, and then I became an exco chair, and then I became the PPC chair, and I'm like, what's going on? I really honestly do not know what all this means. The parish is small, so every time you turn around, it's you. I didn't even know when I was the PPC chair, I didn't even know the existence of a constitution for PPC. And so what I did was, I thought this is the right move. I invited a few people whom I knew, who shared the love for the parish, to come journey with me, to pray, and to walk with me in this journey. And I remember very, very vaguely, I recalled I gathered a group of us, and we went to one of the most romantic roof terraces in Singapore. If you want to know where, come ask me during lunch. Okay? And on that fateful night, we prayed, we ate, and am I frightened? Yes. Was there anxiety? Definitely. But I knew I was not alone, and that Jesus was walking with me, with this group of women, and it was just how we started. And then, of course, we charted the vision and mission for our parish. And this is where, everything, we were filled with eagerness and joy, and we started to get things going, like what Father Terence mentioned. But after 1 or 2 years, honestly, we were very tired, and Father. We were very, very tired. But then again, we are reminded, what are we called to? What are we doing all this? Running about. Yes, plenty of structure is well and good. But we wanted to really, at the end of the day, what is at heart of our being? Knowing our DNA. So what is St. Michael's known for? Welcoming? Really? What are we called to? So, of course, then we needed change. And so with that plan, right, we had introduced change. Of course, it helped that Father Terence, every time after the final blessing, he would go, we are changing, expect change, change is coming. Then okay, so what is this all about? Well, it did get people excited, for sure. But the point is that this change that we wanted was very much to bring hospitality as a culture, as a value for the parish. So, of course, we did our homework and committed to this endeavor, that Christian hospitality should be what we want to do. And so we asked ourselves, let's be then person-focused rather than task-focused. This becomes a part of our culture. In our parish, we seek to embrace, as the many examples that Father had shared. We want to welcome, we want to invite, connect, and help others, importantly, to encounter Jesus in offering hospitality. We found our cores for parish hospitality. No pun intended, because the title is what, Charting the Course for Parish Hospitality. Why should any one of us bother to offer hospitality? Unlike modern day hospitality, service, the interpretation, all of us here are not going to be paid, for sure, at least not on this earth, right? It will be offered, and it should be offered, and should be given freely. This is what we wanted to share with the whole of parish. That the good news is we are called at baptism and believe in following the footsteps of Jesus. Hospitality is not just a personal journey. I can't do this alone, but one that is carried out as a community. It is not about our audigos, our wardens, our priests. We all have a stake in this, and we need to claim this, and we want to claim this. So, and what do we do? There were a few aspects that we needed to work on parish hospitality, from the physical space to training, to various touch points, to policies and procedures. So all this was put in place to try to reach out to all aspects of our parish. We knew we needed hospitality as a start to friendship, as a bridge to bring that space from the gate to the front door. And then, of course, this became very telling during COVID years as we began to see parishioners come and go. So there is this call for change. And in this call for change, we help ourselves, or rather the parish priest helped us to become curious to what this change is all about. And in CSM, we wanted to share with everyone that each of us are being called to be disciples of Christ, to be active members of the church, that the call for Christian hospitality then becomes a way for us to focus on the needs of the people, not the task or the function. It is not about how well we serve. It's about who we are serving. We needed to move away from being just functional, and so therein lies the desire and commitment for us to change. So hospitality honestly offered us that opportunity to help people get that sense of belonging and of being heard. In one of the focus group discussion, I remember hearing from one parishioner, "I'm invisible in this parish. So every time she comes to church and she leaves, no one notices her." And we took that as an opportunity for us to share. You know, those of us who watch Avatar, the show, I see you. Do we really see our brothers and sisters when they come? So we want to offer Christian hospitality to show how we can gather everyone into this loving relationship with God and eventually with Him in union in that heavenly banquet. And so, importantly, we wanted to share that at Eucharistic celebration, telling everyone that this experience is what we need to do to be welcoming and inviting and be generous in our invite. So I think Father Terence also mentioned quite a bit just now. I think he helped me quite a lot because he shared so much to introduce ourselves before Mass. And then, of course, at a sign of peace, to be able to remember whom you have just been introduced to and to greet each other. Is it work? I mean, it is a habit, and we start to try to do this. So with hospitality in the parish, it gives us that space for grace to happen. Right? And in the meantime, there was a group of leaders that were being formed. And we were this bunch of leaders who were then helped to show the way. And many of them are ministry leaders here themselves, and they're here. And we worked through the ministries. We had to, because it is one of the ways that we could do best to then start to invite the rest. We were working through them, and of course we do hear many ministries are saying, yes, they are overwhelmed, but that's also a reality. And something, of course, then after that, I've handed over the PPC leadership, and I stayed on to work on this hospitality program, something which Father Terence arrowed. I lovingly took. So that we started a group of 4 of us, a small group of us. But okay, here's a public service announcement. If you do not know where to start, go for the one website. This is where the resources we took from. Okay, so with that, we leverage on each other's strength. We took a few topics on our own. We shared our talent. And in there, once we're ready, we wanted to share this. But we went with the perspective, we're not here to download. Not to download, neither were we experts. It was about sharing what we know and how you should know. It is the good news that we share, the blessings we receive from each session, and each sharing from the participants gave us the motivation to carry on. And in the program, we shared aspects of Christian hospitality, which is very much based on Scripture. And then it was about caring for the person, and it is not about customer service. It is not about meeting what people want. It is not about that. It is about caring for the person and being sensitive to the person's needs, whether it's a social, physical, or intellectual, or spiritual. And of course, when we're ready, we want to get out there. So I think we spend a lot of time grave digging. Yeah, but you know, we needed to start the grave digging so we know where we can lay, right? At the end of the day. But for a start, that has to be done, the grave digging, because we are not ready. And if we're not ready, we can't get out there. All right? So, yes, so at the same time, we started to reach out to the neighborhood and started to knock on the doors, providing relevant information just to let the people around the neighborhood know, you know what, if you need help, you know where to go to. Because we had helplines, you know, to tell everybody, not just information about the parish. So, like in all Singapore roads, there's always road works. So, some challenges ahead, of course. You know, I think Father painted quite a lovely picture. Okay, don't scold me after this, okay? But indeed, COVID was in the way. The reality is just when we wanted to start the hospitality program, we were hit with COVID. But then we told ourselves, never mind, we'll continue to refine what we're doing. And the minute they allow in-person training, we would start. And guess what? The first batch of people who attended this were our safe management team, 11 of them. Yes, fittingly, because this was the time that hospitality was greatly needed to welcome parishioners for each celebration for a start. It was difficult to see people being turned away from Mass. Do you all remember? I was one of those. Forgot to register. And that's one occasion. Then the other occasion is my husband. So, you know, you come to church and then supposed to come together, but then you end up like, okay. Yeah, and then there were those, there were parishioners who had to make a long detour. This is real, long detour just to get to the washroom. Don't care if you're desperate, all right? And the worship hall was almost like a war zone. In St. Mary's, there's these lovely flowers. We had yellow barricades between the west side and the east side. And so I remember going up to Father Terence, hey, Father, I think we need to dress up the barricades. And it's true, we dressed it up, you know. Yeah, we dressed it up nicely, and then when there were occasions, flowers went on it too. So it became less intimidating. So, you know, yeah, it's things like that. And we knew it is not easy to inform based on a 2 half-day program, but it was just allowing us to create that awareness and get that conversation going. Were we all ready for change? No. Of course, it took time. People are not ready. There are people who would still not turn around to give sign of peace. How I know? Because I sit next to them. Well, it was good. Okay, I mean, in the past, maybe I think even now, it's often said St. Michael's have a very nice kampong spirit, small church, about 2,000, right? What's the problem with kampong? They're very tight knit, right? A stranger goes in the kampong, you get stared at. Okay, but I think now not so, huh? Now not so. Okay, so in our outreach to the neighborhood, I said earlier on we managed to collect information, but we do not have the resources to do any follow-up. But these are some realities. And of course, limitation of the hospitality program. What's the reality? That program is not going to make any one of us more hospitable. Not at all. All right? A program does not change culture. It is the belief and the practice together that the entire parish system over time, culture is over time, that we need to enable this change. For example, people were clueless on why they needed to attend hospitality program. And I used to start the program by asking, "Hi, are you here because you're a hostage? Or an adventurer? Or worse still, because Father Terence says it's compulsory?" Okay, very threatening, huh? But hospitality is also not consistently practiced across the parish. So don't go to St. Michael's and expect and then complain after that. It does not work at all touch points. It's true. Some are tougher when there's a fine line between hospitality and compliance. No standing, because it's a fire safety issue, right? And then you fight off the rest of the parishioners. And so it takes some wisdom to apply. Staff in the parish office are often challenged in this area of work. With the support from our parish priest, thank you, we set up hospitality ministry, as what he mentioned, to serve free breakfast on Sundays. Initially, it did seem that we were very busy trying to prepare and serve the food, right? So it wasn't just immediate. And the third thing is really selective hospitality. How easy. It is often easier to warm up to someone you know. And then I have got, we do have parishioners or even those who attend the program say, "But I'm introvert. It's very hard for me to be welcoming." You know, I say to them that being introvert is not a condition. It is just a preferred way to behave or respond. It does not take away our call to care for others and making them feel welcome. So we can try and tell the introverts, okay? We talked about respect and dignity also at the hospitality program. I've heard this, that anyone with a brain has the capacity and potential to be biased. True? It's okay if it stays up there, but the minute it gets translated into action, it becomes discrimination, right? So when you look at a family with young children coming in for Mass, how do we truly welcome them? Or are we already judging them? "Oh my Lord, please don't let them sit next to me. They're going to bother me at Mass." Now, if we truly believe that Jesus welcomes all, and this Eucharistic celebration is a communion, a gathering for everyone, we will think twice about being selective, right? Okay, having said all these unexciting things, we have to get going, After every road work, right, you sure have a way to go, okay? And so we took some practical steps. And what were they? We definitely reviewed the program to make it more relatable and engaging. We did role plays, we did personas of what parishioners who come in a different pattern, right? Family with children, I would play the delinquent one for sure. And then we would take these small steps and tweak. And like how I would share to many about my own bus stops experience. So we take a lot of experience. We share with our own stories, a lot of encounters I had at the bus stops. I don't know why. Interesting people will come and approach me, tell me their problems and life story, and then I'm like, "Lord, I just finished work. I'm very tired." Okay, but they are challenging. It is encouraging though. For now, we start to recognize each other. The parish is small, but it's good. It gives us a chance. Small is beautiful, for those of you who don't know, and call each one by name. Even if we don't, we'll smile. And after COVID, of course, we carried on. So we are about our 10th, we did our 10th run for this is the batch 10, which, quite crazy there. This is our 10th run, and we had about 175 of us who've gone through this program. We would want to use this to really start off somewhere. And it's all important in that plan and that structure. We work through the ministries first. We have, like, for example, the CVA choir, actually some of the choir members, half an hour before they serve, they're at the ground level. Hello, peace be with you, and all that. And they try their very best before they go up to serve. Not easier. Okay, and what we want to do, of course, maybe just a story or so, to tell you a little bit about limitation in offering hospitality. I was told, honestly, in offering hospitality, there are some limitations in terms of resources or even capacity. Many years back, I was told this story. Someone in St. Mike's had wanted to start a soup kitchen, offering free food. It was all well and good. Many came, including the migrant workers, and after which they would use our washroom. And what happened? It was all messed up. And slowly, the people who organized this soup kitchen began closing the washroom one by one. Eventually, all the washrooms were closed. Then someone found his way into the adoration room, and it's air-conditioned. And that led to the eventual closure of the soup kitchen. Why I share this story? Sometimes we are not ready to offer hospitality and need to know where our limitations are. It's real. And so, in the last 2 years, we created space for gathering, as what Father had shared. We offered free breakfast on Sundays, decked the church with enough signage for everybody to know where to find what, at least for a start. But we also ask ourselves to be given that permission to remain humble and committed, faithful to do this for the parish, for those of us who are doing this. And next thing that we probably want to do is to, now that we've dug our grave, we'll try to, be out there. Try to be out there and focus on that one thing, to outreach. So we've recently formed a group of people. We haven't done this yet. We've got our plan in place. We'll do this around the neighborhood with specific outcome. So they hope that people can see and are more open. And when they understand, when they start to greet each other, peace be with you, what does that really mean? Is that really peace be with you, or you're really pissed with that person? Yeah. The doors were slowly opened. All right, the doors are slowly open. We had greeters every Sunday at the car park. We have the auditors, doing their car park thing. Well, it takes a lot of generosity from them, generosity from the heart, to be under the hot sun every Sunday. And even if it rains, they would carry umbrella to be out there. And they do this week after week. Okay, here's the trick. Here's the tip, right? Continue to practice. That's all we can do. We're not there yet. We're just taking baby steps. For myself during COVID, I took this as a practice. Every morning I would go for my walk before I start work. And I would be that one person who would greet, "Good morning," with an audible voice. And then I'll get very strange stares. Like, this strange woman from where? And some would even give me that, "How dare," that look, "How dare you say the morning is good?" And then in my heart, if you remember, I said, we're made in the image and likeness of God, right? "Oh, Jesus, you must have a bad morning." And I would walk away quietly and smile. I learned to be humble, to respect the space of others, that there are limitations to offering hospitality, but there is always hope. I am not alone on this journey. It is not a personal journey, but one that the whole community can support. Join NCC, Teresa. Be curious, be creative, and most of all, be hopeful. We tweaked our sessions, we did what we could, we listened to the people, provided feedback. Some went to PPC, some things worked, some things didn't. But how can we welcome and see every other person as a desired guest at each Eucharistic celebration? Desired guest, even though you look like you're not so desirable. At each, so we practice. Father Adrian mentioned about this eye contact. So at one of the hospitality program, that's one exercise we do. We pair each other up and look into the eyes for that 1 minute. Wow, not easy, huh? Try that. Those of you with your spouses, girlfriend, boyfriend, try. Okay, and of course, that's the first batch of people with the mask up. And what I want to share at the end of the day is not confined. Hospitality is not confined to the parish. Yes, stop digging our graves. It's a start. And you remember I mentioned earlier on that the command for us is to love. To love one another is how God loves us. Have the will and commitment to make this happen. I want to bear the hope. I may not agree with everyone, or even the parish priest sometimes, but the truth is, this is my brother, my sister. We are made in that image and likeness of God. I want to care for them as God cares for us. We are called to love one another as how He loves us. And there's plenty of places to practice Christian hospitality. At home, in school, at work, and of course in a parish. Just like we have many muscles. Yesterday, Father Adrian was talking about how you break the heart, right? We have many muscles in our body. Perhaps a muscle that we can start to exercise is our heart. I'm not asking for cardio exercise now, but the heart to be open to learn, a heart to grow, to recognize the need of others, their worth and the common humanity that we all share. Christian hospitality can and must be practiced once you know where it comes from. That would change your whole perspective and how you want to behave or respond. The next time we hear a child at Mass crying or whining, the next time we cannot find a car park lot, the next time we queue for our food, be so grateful, as these are opportunities for us to offer hospitality. So what does hospitality means to me? It is to love. Easy? No. Impossible? Also no. So what this means? What does this mean? It's for me to be able to be in the present, to be able to practice and be very conscious to live this daily at home, at work, and in the church. And so now I ask, will you offer hospitality? Thank you.